Shaboing.
Hey, Maniacs.
Thank you, Joshua.
If no one's jumping in.
Before we started recording, Mark and I said it at the same time. This time we were not trying to say it at the same time.
So and you heard a voice that you're probably not familiar with. Our friend Joshua is joining us for this particular mini episode of Midsomer Maniacs, a spoiler-free review of Happy Families.
Season 22, Episode 3. Again, spoiler-free. You can listen to this before you watch it, and then you can watch the new episode like a maniac.
Yeah, which is available on Acorn now and has been broadcast on ITV also.
But it was in Australia first?
Yeah.
They got it first?
I don't understand that.
I don't know.
And who's crazy? Do you know who's crazy? We're crazy. Because we're going to do 8 episodes this month alone.
Oh. I'm tired thinking about it.
We're going to do mini episode 14, 15, 16, and 17, which covers season 22 as they're released on Acorn. Mm-hmm. Those will come out on Fridays in October. And then our regular episodes, which is season 17, episode 1, 2, 3, and 4, will come out regularly on Mondays. So you'll get 8 juicy episodes of Midsomer Maniacs this month.
Our break is over. That's what you're saying.
Yeah, our break is definitely
we had 2 weeks off and it's over.
I went to Canada. It was fun.
So this is coming out on Friday. And just a couple of days ago, Newsletter 2 was released with something special in it.
Yes, it had Midsomer Maniacs Bingo so that you could play it while listening to our episodes.
And it was created by a listener. Her name's Beatrice.
And
she's awesome.
Yes.
Thank you so much, Beatrice, for making those bingo cards. They're so fun.
They're fantastic.
And if you don't subscribe to the newsletter, well, why don't you? But if you don't, Mark, when can they get them? When can they find them?
They will get a link dropped to them next week.
Okay.
So we're letting the newsletter folks get it a week early.
Okay.
So
thanks again,
so
Beatrice.
watch
Those
it.
are really cool.
Twitter and Instagram and Facebook and all those things that we do.
But today we are here to talk about Happy Families, but not spoil it, we promise. And why do we have Joshua with us? We have Joshua with us for 2 reasons. 3. 1, he's awesome.
Yes.
And he's our friend. 2, he's a noob to Midsomer.
A total noob. He's watched Badger's Drift and this episode.
I don't think
Sorry?
those are... They're not representative of Midsomer. But 3, he owns more board games than anybody else I know.
Yes,
For
absolutely.
Sure. How many do you think you have?
Ooh, it's good 300 at this point.
Yeah.
So there's
you
people
got a
with
room
more.
dedicated, right?
Oh, yeah.
300 that you admit.
Well, that doesn't count expansions. But 300 experiences in a box.
That's how much of a board game geek he is. And since this episode is centered around a family who own a board game company, we thought, what better episode to bring Joshua on?
Agreed. Absolutely. Right off the top, we need to ask you, do you have any burning questions about Midsomer after watching this episode?
Do the characters get more likable?
Oh!
I'll jump right in.
That's a shot across the bow right there.
Let's mix it up. Sure.
Now, do you mean the main characters or the people there? Like the people there,
like Barnaby and Winter, the policeman, or everybody else.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, Barnaby's wife seemed nice and patient to put up with him.
Yeah.
Winter seemed like he had something going on.
What about Fleur? What did you think of Fleur?
I liked. And I've been watching Ted Lasso, so she's in there.
It's
as well.
funny. Our last mini episode from this episode before this one, the blonde lady from Ted Lasso's in it, and so we were talking like Ted Lasso, like we'd never seen it at that point, and now it's become one of our favorite television shows of all time. So, so Annette Badlands is fantastic.
Fleur on the ferry, you'll see.
Yeah.
In her red rain gear
is pretty...
She's like a Valkyrie coming
Yes.
across the lake.
She was pretty hard to miss at that point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this episode is directed by Audrey Cook, which she's directed a bunch of stuff, but I thought it was interesting. She also directed at least one Mrs. Bradley mysteries. Now, why that's interesting is Neil Dungeon, who plays the Barnaby, is a chauffeur in Mrs. Bradley's mysteries.
But also kind of her sidekick in solving mysteries.
Yeah, she's been working with him for a long time. So this is Happy Families, which is a game, which is like a card game that's like Go Fish. Mm-hmm. You collect card sets based on occupations, and the occupations are related to the people's names. It's like a nominal determinism Go Fish.
So there's like a baker,
That's
butcher.
why he says Bun the Baker at the end.
Okay.
That's not a spoiler. Okay.
And you have to collect
Sets
like one of each or four of the same or something like that?
Yes.
Okay. So it's like Old Mate.
So, Mark, you've played a game that doesn't have fireballs in it?
Yes. I've never actually played this game, but I did do some research on it. But this is not the first thing named Happy Families.
Okay.
There was a 1985 Happy Families television series, which this has the weirdest plot synopsis in it.
And you think that's before the card game?
No.
I think the card game's older than that.
I think the card game's older than that.
Okay.
But this show is obviously related
a reference to it.
To the card game too, and has a crossover with this episode.
Is this a US TV show? UK TV show?
UK show.
Okay.
The synopsis goes, Guy Fuddle, that's the main character's name, lives with his grandmother, who's played by Jennifer Saunders.
Okay. From Ab Fab?
Yep. And her four sisters, who are all also played by Saunders.
So she plays 5 characters?
Yes, who are sent away from home as small children. Grandmother is now ill, and she wants to see her granddaughters before she dies. She sends Guy into the world to find them. Grandmother's real motives are revealed when the family reunites.
Bum, bum, bum.
So it's set collection of granddaughters.
Now I want to go watch that.
So Guy has to go collect granddaughters.
Guy Fuddle.
Okay, it's creepy when you say it that way.
Guy Fuddle is played by Adrian Edmondson.
That went over my head.
Yeah.
Who is Vivian, who is
Oh!
the detective, sort of, in this episode.
He's one of the characters in this episode. Yeah,
Yep.
but he played Vivian in the Young Ones.
Yes.
And he was in Jonathan Creek,
Yes. Well, this is really a Jonathan Creek reunion show.
which Joshua has no
Joshua
idea
has
what
no
we're talking
idea.
about.
It was funny. Joshua mentioned Adrian's character when we were texting back and forth. And I sent him a picture of Vivian from Young Ones, to which he said, "What is this?"
The same guy. He's changed.
A little bit. Yeah. I could see that in his youth, though.
Yeah.
That would explain some things.
He runs into a lot of things in that show with his head.
Yeah, and has what stars?
Stars
in his forehead?
in his forehead.
Like implants,
Yeah,
whatever.
stars,
like forehead
implants.
piercings.
Yes. So this is a Jonathan Creek kind of reunion because Stuart Milligan, who plays the board game magnate.
Yeah,
Is there such a thing as a board game magnate?
Not that I've ever heard of, and everything I see on Twitter says that board game designers and owners are not making a lot of money. So I want to know,
Like the
He's
guy
doing something right
where
then,
this rich guy came from. Yeah,
like I remember we saw a documentary on the guy who created Settlers of Catan, probably the best-selling board game worldwide.
The most successful
hobby
board
game.
game, created by a person and not a big company.
Yeah.
Right?
And
It's a family business now.
it's a family business, but he doesn't live on an island with weird things in his house. No.
Well, he's German, isn't he?
Yes.
Or Swiss or something.
he is. So you'd expect a mountaintop with weird things in his
I
house.
just expect Germans to be more like modest and streamlined in there.
So we have Stuart Milligan and we have Catherine Quinlan, who looks amazing in this episode.
Of course, yeah.
Of course. And then Adrian Edmondson. But so that's 3 characters from Jonathan Creek. Now I have a challenge for Sarah. This is challenge time for Sarah. How many actors in common do you think Midsomer has with Jonathan Creek?
So all of Midsomer and all of Jonathan Creek, how many overlaps?
Yes. Now Jonathan Creek, to tell you, Joshua, is a very good mystery show with Alan Davies in it. You wouldn't probably recognize him, but he's a famous British actor, where it's all magic and illusion and whodunits.
He designs magic tricks
Yeah.
for like a stage magician.
And lives in a windmill.
And so
It's a pretty
all
cool
of the
guy.
cases are impossible, like locked room, and he is able to deconstruct what somebody did. How many? I would say 15.
There are 85 actors in common
Actors?
between Midsomer and Jonathan Creek.
I wouldn't have guessed there were 85 actors in Jonathan Creek.
85
There's not that many episodes.
actors.
Wow. There's a lot of people in the background.
There are 200 cast and crew overlapping those
Wow.
two shows. Yeah, stunning.
That's a lot.
I wanted to make sure that Rachel Sterling wasn't in it. That's why I looked. So Rachel Sterling plays the pregnant wife.
In Happy Families.
And she's kind of she's a leading lady in Britain right now.
Yeah. She's
Both
been in a Doctor
Bletchley
Who.
Park,
and Bletchley Park, yeah.
Doctor Who, things like that. So
So let's talk about this island.
yes,
Okay, again, no spoilers here. Straight up. The island is owned by Victor Karras, who
Yep.
owns Karras Games.
yeah,
It's a big house.
It's a really big house.
it's an insanely big house, and I have in my notes Chekhov's Island because you know they're going to an island. You know it's going to get like the ferry's out.
You can't go someplace like this and not get stuck there.
Oh, and they really push the dark and stormy night hard too.
And if you like mysteries of any kind, you know as soon as somebody goes someplace that's difficult to get to and from, that they're not going to be able to leave, right? So Agatha Christie did it in Ordeal by Innocence. That was another house on an island that befuddled
Jacko,
me.
how could you kill me?
Well, and Julian Ryan Tutt played that guy who
Yep.
studied what?
Eels in
limpets or
Canada.
eels. Labor of Hercules, where Poirot gets stuck at the ski resort.
Which is one of the last season of Poirot.
It's one of the last
and
books
has the
about him.
heartbreaking
Yeah.
cold opening to
Yep.
it.
And then, of course, and then there were none.
Yes.
Is another island.
Did you read that book in high school?
More people die there.
Everybody reads that book in high school.
Yeah.
It's true.
So the house is decorated with things that are related to the games that Karras Games develops.
I guess?
That stairway makes me crazy. There is too much crap on that stairway.
Yeah, there's way too much crap on that stairway, especially onks.
And I would not walk up that stairway.
No.
I don't want to be near all that stuff.
No! All that teetery, pointy,
Oh, yeah.
stabby spear stuff everywhere.
Yeah.
And the...
It's certainly not a house for a baby.
Oh, gosh, no.
No, you childproof that by burning it down.
Yeah. Can you imagine a toddler on that stairway?
I don't think I'd want to imagine my wife on that stairway. That's not looking good.
So we've got a couple of themes in these big decorations. And again, we're not giving anything away here.
No.
But there's definitely a bunch of Egyptian ones. Mm-hmm. And we learn that that's a reference to a game called Hounds and Jackals, which I've seen and played before. It's kind of like Chinese checkers, sort of, with pegs. But then there are other things I couldn't figure out what they would be referenced to.
Yeah, and I think there's a reference later in the episode that says that some of the things in the house are big representations of games he's made.
Right.
And I think the link is that it's supposed to be the game that makes Barnaby so angry. My God, he totally hulks out at the beginning of this episode. And because that game, I stopped and looked at it, has little silver animals on a board that looks like snakes and ladders with like barrels.
Which is chutes and ladders.
Yeah.
Barrels, that means like it's Donkey Kong.
I don't know.
Joshua, do you get that angry if you lose a piece of a game?
At myself, yes. but I don't let my son touch a game that I would be that angry about a missing piece. And that's his mistake right there.
Well, and then he just empties out the game pieces. Like he gets frustrated. And I'm like, is that not what you're accusing her of doing?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, you never do that.
Yeah.
That's not a real game owner.
I'm just thinking pokey metal animals on the floor now I'm going to step on. That's all I'm thinking of.
Well, Betty would be 7 at this time, almost 8.
She's in the house.
Well, she's not in the house because...
Where is she? She's upstairs,
as-
mysteriously in the bath for the whole episode.
Yeah, as we talked about in the last mini episode, obviously they don't have a child on the set because it's a quarantine set and child can't be vaccinated. So they have no children on the set.
So we've got Egyptian stuff. Then there are stuffed meaning taxidermied, animals with musical instruments.
Yes. And
There's-
an unrelated but scary monkey.
Yeah. There's a baby zebra. It's not a big zebra.
No.
Playing some kind of French horn tuba thing.
Maybe you need to look for that. And then we thought it was Dobby
There's
playing
a giraffe
cello.
playing a cello
But
that I thought looked like Dobby until we noticed that it
But
had a
we
head.
mistook a giraffe for Dobby.
I was wondering why you said, look for Dobby. And I was like, there's weird creatures everywhere. This is not...
I don't see Dobby. Well, you just see these like spindly limbs, and its head is sort of in the shadow. So I just thought, like, is that Dobby playing the cello?
It's very
over there?
weird. So we have a question for you, Joshua, which is, if you were to have giant pieces from a board game, you don't have to own this board game, even though you do own most
All
of
of
them. What game pieces would you like in your house?
Ooh.
Now they have to be at least 5 feet tall,
Yeah.
and you have to have all of them, not just one.
Sure.
From a game.
Well, what I wouldn't do is go through all my games and pick the weirdest, creepiest pieces. I want
Imagine
pieces I don't mind seeing in the dark.
Yeah, like imagine walking around that living area at night when it's like, oh, creepy.
No, that's what kept me up last night. No, I don't want to imagine that. That's a good question. My first thought was Star Wars. Star Wars ships flying all around would be really
That
fun.
would be very
That would be
cool.
pretty cool.
Cross some nerd boundaries there.
Yeah.
Hungry hippos.
It would be terrifying.
It would be terrifying. Can you imagine how loud those things would be if they were life size?
Yeah, but now I'm picturing playing that with my son with a soccer ball, and that sounds pretty darn
Yeah,
fun.
that sounds...
But those mouths come slamming down.
Yeah, we'd probably end up with a cat in one of them, and that would not be good.
Yeah. Don't get your foot in there.
No.
It would be fun to do Mousetrap, the game. You know, that kind of huge Rube Goldberg thing as an actual thing. Probably somebody's done that. I would think that
Yeah, isn't that what they do at like Chuck E. Cheese and then they let kids play in it?
Chuck E.
It's kinda
Cheese is a
similar.
long time ago.
But you
and
know
I'm
what I
glad.
mean, like those indoor play
Yeah.
areas, they're kind of like Mousetrap.
Yeah, they've cleaned them out, though. It's all super expensive video games now.
Of course.
Because last time we took our son, he was like, okay, give me $5. I did. Like, wait, did you even start it? Yeah, I'm dead already.
Yeah,
Because
give me
they're
5
designed for like 15-year-old mega players, and all these 9-year-olds running around hopped up on pizza and Coke.
Just
going-
gambling their money away.
Pretty much, yeah.
Chuck E. Cheese is Vegas for kids. Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
So what other board games would we have big figures from?
Sorry. And you'd
Yeah,
have to move the pieces all the time. Sorry. Sorry.
Well, that makes me think of the game of life. I'd want a little car with those big pegs for my family.
That would be cool.
The blue and pink pegs.
Especially if you could drive it around the house.
Well, yeah, if it drives,
You
sure.
know, it has a little mountain in the living room and
So now
Or
we're
that
thinking,
big
like,
spinny thing from Game of Life. Like, that would be fun to have. In
what
the
are we
living-
having for dinner?
It'd be like Wheel of Fortune at that point.
Okay, so we need an island.
Yeah.
with a big old mansion.
So what I thought of is Perfection. You guys remember Perfection?
Isn't that the Shapes game?
Yeah. So it's like a grid, and in each square of the grid, you can put a shape, a plastic shape in, and the idea is you have to balance it. And if you don't, if you lose, they all come shooting out everywhere.
Yes. It's
right?
timed, right? It's timed.
Yeah.
That's right, I remember that.
This is the kind of kid I was. My brother got that game, and I was like, okay, I'll play that game. And he was like, okay, he dumped the pieces out. And then he was doing something. And I, of course, set up all the pieces like they were on the board. And he's like, you're cheating. I'm like, I'm not cheating.
I'm just preparing.
I'm preparing. And I turned on the dial, and I'm like, I was done way early. I'm like, this is easy.
So you're saying Sarah would come out every morning and find them arranged on the kitchen floor? Is
Yep,
this-
already.
I'm just thinking,
They're
like,
all knolled up.
if you've got like a big ballroom and you've got a checkered floor,
Yeah.
To get from one side to the other. You got to do it just... If you do it wrong, shaboing.
So keep an eye out for those.
There are other animals that we didn't mention. So with musical instruments. See how many you can find.
At least there is at least one die in the episode. I was at the point where I was like, I don't know if we should have Joshua on because it's not really... They mix up board games, puzzles, and toys together. And those are very...
Like the smoking monkey is a automaton.
Yeah,
it's kind of a toy.
Yeah. But she has a nice gold 6d6 necklace.
The wife does, yeah.
And it does have dots on it. I double-checked today.
They're diamonds.
Now, I don't know if the dots are in the right order. I would hope so, but...
Yeah, but there was nothing else in that house I think you'd see in a modern board game store.
No.
That's for sure.
No. I guess the idea is that he makes kind of like classic vintage.
He's selling them for $8 million a piece for that house.
Guess.
Is the only
like
thing.
hand-carved chess sets or something?
They keep picking up those pieces of chess pieces like crazy. I have one main question about this episode. Mm-hmm. The thing that is the biggest mystery for me, and this is not a spoiler, and this is, does Winters have any underwear on under those pajamas?
Well, first of all, it's winter.
Yes.
You always put an S on
gosh,
it.
yes.
Even he has corrected you.
He has corrected me on Twitter.
That it's winter and not winters.
Excellent. Let me just check something off on my bingo card.
Joshua, what do you think? Does he have underwear on under those pajama pants?
If he does, they're bikini bottoms. There was more of winter than I wanted to see.
Mark, what are you saying? Yes or no?
I'm saying no. But I'm going to cry, I guess, mysterious, stormy night island murder mystery.
Dirty underwear?
Foul here. Like, you don't do that. They're supposedly the old man's pajamas, and you're in there freebirding it.
So you're saying he's not wearing underwear?
Yeah.
And that's a party foul because he's borrowing pajamas?
Yeah.
Although the dead guy doesn't need them back.
That's true.
No.
But he did make a big deal about how he didn't want to wear the socks 2 days in a row. So although his plan there was to flip
Turn
him inside out.
out.
So does that not work for
Well, they have
Reeves?
a lot, but in this giant house, they must have a laundromat, and they have electricity. No cell phone signal.
No phone signal either.
But
96 rooms, there should be at least one laundry.
The daughter was like, "I'm going to go work." And I'm like, "No,
How?
you're not."
Not unless you're like writing a novel, pen and paper or something.
One would hope that they had put some Ethernet in that house by now.
I'm going to say that Winter does have underwear on because I think he's a respectful person and he wouldn't wear a dead man's pajamas without underwear.
Okay,
But that they must be teeny tiny underwear.
There's some banana hammock going on.
Like banana hammock thong underwear.
Yes.
Which gives
this
us
isn't making it any better in my mind.
new view of Winter.
Well, we do learn in this episode he's rather flexible.
That's true.
That's true.
So that kind of fits in my mind.
Yeah.
But you're saying that people who are bendy are more likely to wear a banana hammock thong underwear?
Sure.
You're like,
Maybe not.
I plead the fifth. Edit me out. I don't know.
I don't know where I was going there. Let's talk about the creepy puzzle pieces again.
So the last thing I want to talk about is the chain ferries, which is the most inefficient way to get anywhere.
Okay. So the chain ferry, we're not talking about things with little wings that fly around.
Yes.
We're talking about a boat that goes from the mainland to the island. And instead of having to row it, there is a chain and a winch. Not a winch, but a winch that pulls it from one side to the other.
And this is powered by a motor.
Yes.
Which, of course, is done in by plot.
Of course. As soon as you see that that's how you have to get to the island. Well, my first thought was, how do you move into that house?
Yeah.
Like, you put all that big furniture?
I
put
think
all
the
that...
servants move you into the
Yeah,
house.
those giant Egyptian tchotchkes went on that little boat? I don't think so.
Well, and these are usually over tiny areas of water. And so I was like, you couldn't swim across that thing? Like, Winters, put on some underwear.
Winter. He's just one.
Winter,
Both
put
of
on
them
some
could've-
underwear.
Add that to your bingo card.
go across the water. Plus, it's England. They call a stream a river. They certainly... There was no impression when Fleur was going across the River Styx that it was wide by any stretch of the imagination.
It's as wide as the plot needs it to be, Mark.
That's true.
And it has an undertow, I'm sure. It'll just sweep you right away to your death.
So they're called chain ferries, swing ferries, floating bridge, which I like. I like that. Or punts. That's what a punt is.
A punt can refer to other things, too.
Yeah.
Wait a minute. They can be like big flat boats that you can drive a car onto.
Yes.
And it takes you across. Then I think maybe you call it a floating bridge.
So supposedly there's only one chain one left in America. There's
Where?
lots in Britain, but in America it's in Sagatuck, Michigan, and it goes across the Kalamazoo River, like that sort of western part of Michigan near Kalamazoo and Grand Rapids, that sort of area.
Yeah.
That cottage country there.
Is it a big one?
No.
Oh.
I had to zoom in really far on Google Maps to see, like, it maybe goes 200 feet. Maybe.
No, I meant, is the boat bigger?
No.
No?
No. It's about the same size, I would think.
I
So
think they
could
do.
you have swum that 200 feet in pajama bottoms with no underwear?
I think you could have probably fallen and gotten halfway across this river.
I think they do it on a smaller scale with ropes. Like if you have like a cabin that's easier to get to over water and you can tie a rope. It just means you don't have to take the boat back and forth. You don't always have to return it for somebody else to be able to come over. Because they can pull it back if they need to, right? So that makes sense. Why you would have one as the only way to get to your house, I don't understand.
It's a British murder mystery thing to create difficult ways to get to your house.
If you're super rich, you do what you want.
I guess. Though it would be cool to have a funicular to the house.
Joshua, you know what a funicular is?
It's like it climbs mountains.
Oh, yeah, I've seen
It's like a train that climbs mountains.
Yeah.
That would be fun.
There's one in the Trials of Hercules.
Yes.
That Poirot episode.
Yeah.
I don't want to live somewhere I need to take a funicular to my house.
And there's a funicular in that movie by that guy.
The Wes Anderson movie, the Hotel Budapest.
Yeah.
The Grand Budapest Hotel.
Yes.
That's it.
That has
I
a
love that
funicular.
movie so much.
That's such a good movie.
And then there's the song. Funiculi, funicula, funiculi, funicula. Sarah sings.
Yep.
Oh, there's
check.
mark. Damn it. When I saw that on the square, I was like, I never sing. I don't sing on the podcast. Beatrice, you tricked me. She got me to sing.
What do we want Maniacs to watch for?
All right, if you want to watch season 22, episode 3, Happy Families Like a Maniac, look for the following. See how many animals playing instruments you can find. We've listed 2, but there are more.
Yep.
See what you can find. Let us know whether you think Winter sleeps commando or not.
Yes.
And do you know of any other Jonathan Creek overlapping characters?
Yes. All good stuff to watch it by.
Those will keep you busy.
Yeah.
And, what giant playing pieces would you have in your house?
Yeah.
I still think Hungry Hippo may be the best.
Yeah.
That's the one I'm going for right now.
Yeah. Because it would be useful against your enemies, too.
Yep.
Somebody comes to your house and you want to get rid of them.
Because we have the enemies over to the house. All the
Sure.
time.
People are at parties and they just won't leave. You're ready to go to bed and they won't go.
Of course, if you put a nice big moat and a chain ferry, then you don't need a hippo.
That's true.
What would the sound of those hungry hippos be like?
I don't know. A big loud slam? What? Were you setting me up for something that I
Yes,
missed?
there's a bingo square that Sarah makes a strange noise.
Oh,
Oh, she already gave us the noise. I checked
know.
that off a minute ago.
are you trying to win the game or
Of
what?
course I'm trying to win bingo.
I see how it is. Well, I don't have a bad movie this time, so don't worry about that.
Midsomer episode 14. This mini episode gets released on October 8th. The Dagger Club, episode 101 of the regular episodes, gets released the 11th. And we'll be back the next Friday with the Scarecrow Murders mini episode on the 15th of October.
Perfect for October.
Yes.
Scarecrow, it's got to be fall, I hope.
Yeah. Oh, there's
probably
Scarecrow.
It's probably a Summer Fate episode. They're like bowling on the green.
October 29th, mini episode 17, The Witches of Angels Rise.
Hell yeah.
Halloween, baby.
Baby. All right. Until then, Bye, Maniacs.
Bye, Maniacs.
Bye. Nice meeting you.
There
Give
we
us
go.
a bye, Maniacs.
Bye, Maniacs.
Five, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Hey, Maniacs.
Maniacs.
Oh, you did that right over top of me.
Yes, I did. I went right over top of you. Want to try it again, or do you want
Yeah.
to? Okay.